Greetings to all of humanity. It's really a joy. It's my pleasure as usual to be greeting you, and I always bring this message of emancipation to you, where I'm pointing you to look no other place but to look inwardly to discover that your real identity is your divinity. That's the reason why I want to speak to you concerning Neville Goddard, Abdullah, and the great solar flash. And quite lately, there's a lot of videos that has been going around on the internet concerning the great solar flash, and many have their different opinion. And so because persons have been reaching out to me and want to know my opinion, I feel led to make this video and to say to you that there's nothing that will ever take place on the outside that doesn't take place on the inside. It's a law. Everything that is above, the same is below. Learn that law of correspondence, and always remember that. Now, when it comes to Neville Goddard and Abdullah, we all know that Abdullah, the black mystic from Ethiopia, he taught Neville Goddard the law, and he couldn't teach him the promise because the promise must be experienced. So the greatest mystery or the greatest secret among humanity, it can never be known intellectually, it must be experienced. Also, no one would know the time and the day of their awakening. For example, Neville didn't know the time and the day of his awakening, and it took place with him in 1959. And this was he having the experience of his great solar flash. Now with me, when it took place with me, I had no idea. I went to bed and lie down on my back with my two hands at my side to sleep, because I normally sleep quite comfortably on my back or on my left side, not so much on my right side. Okay, so if I want to do an imaginal act before bed, I'll go on my right side because I don't fall asleep that easily on my right side, but on my left side and on my back, fall asleep easily. And that's when I would have experienced the great and mighty shaking, and I would have heard the hand out the wind and so on. And that flash, that great solar flash, would have taken place in me. Now, all these YouTubers who are making videos about the 24th of December, we know time is not real, and we know that, as I would have said before, nothing can take place on the outside that doesn't take place on the inside. Now, if they would have had the experience on the inside, many of them would have been taking the experience that they would have had and put it together with what was written by the ancients and what they believe would take place on the 21st of December. But I want to share with you that everything that has been said is what has really taken place in my life and bring me to my awakening. Therefore, my brothers and my sisters, there hasn't been anything that has been revealed to me to tell me that the 21st of December this thing is going to happen. What I can tell you, that what they're saying, it will actually take place in you. And when it takes place in you, you will change. Yes, you will change from mortal to immortality in a twinkling of an eye. Now, anyone who have been listening to me for a while, you will hear me at the end of every video how I'll reiterate the experience that I would have had. And if you're one of those persons whom this message of self-realization has been resonating with deeply, and you believe the things that I've been saying, you should count yourself very blessed to be listening from one who has truly been awakened, one who has been truly been enlightened, one who have come to a place of pure consciousness. And there are few people on the internet who have had this very experience. I know them, and I know they are real and they're genuine, and there are very few of them. Okay, I can give you names of some of them who actually they have awakened. I know they have awakened. Okay, the experience will not be exactly 100% the same, but there are certain things that must take place. Okay, for example, you must become invisible. You see, you cannot teach of the invisible, you never become invisible. You see, when Abdullah was teaching Neville Goddard, he was teaching Neville Goddard to take the first step, to understand that imagination creates reality, and that he can create his reality consciously, because it is his own thought that is creating his reality. Then he teach him that the Bible, just as the human mind, must be interpreted psychologically, because the Bible is his own spiritual autobiography. So when he started to change his belief system, and he started to use his mind power to achieve his every desire, it was bringing him closer to discover his real identity, to be his divinity. And we know that the real you is the invisible you, and that is God himself. And God is our imagination, the creator in everyone. So my brother and my sisters, to get back to the great solar flash, okay? When you listen to my experience, you listen to Neville's experience, you will realize this is the same thing. Neville will tell you that he has sound like a fiery being. I will tell you that same thing. I will tell you when it happens, it's like a flash of lightning. And I've been saying in all of my videos that when you have the experience, you'll come to realize it is the rising of the S-U-N and the S-O-N. No, Neville died in 72, I think, and I was born in 71. So I didn't even know anything about Neville, and look, I come and I had the same experience. And certain things that Neville never said, I went further and said them to you. Like the rising of the S-U-N and the S-O-N, and the dawning of a new day in your life. I've been saying all of these things all the time. So when I listen to guys on the internet speaking about the great solar flash, and Youarecreators to be specific, because someone would have sent me a video from Justin, Youarecreators, and you can listen to it if you want. I can put I believe I put the link there for you also. You can listen to it and put what he's saying together with what I have been saying. When you speak about drinking of water, you can go back to videos I had on water. And you see, I've been telling you that all the time. And so, my brother and my sisters, I did a video to unforgiveness. So, when you realize that everything that they've been talking about is actually an experience that you experience within yourself, you can come to a conclusion. You can say, suppose these guys are interpreting it as something that's going to happen on the outside, but it's actually something that will take place on the inside. It's just like the Bible. All the preachers going around interpreting the Bible as if it is literal and as if it is secular history, and do not know that the rapture takes place within. They doesn't realize that everything is taking place from within, because all things exist in the human imagination. So even what they're speaking about with the solar flash on 21st of December, it is because of their perception, because we are the perceiver beholding the perception. We are the creator beholding the creation. And remember, your imagination is what will create your reality. Excuse me. So my brother and my sisters, my encouragement to you is to focus your energy inwardly and to believe what Neville would have shared with you when he speak about the law and the promise, and believe what I've been sharing with you also, so that you will be able to come in to having the experience of the promise also, because what they are speaking about concerning this great solar flash is actually the promise. It is you awakening from the dream of life. So my brother and my sister, do not get caught up with the hype. You understand? And do not allow any kind of concern to plague your mind. But my encouragement to you is to believe in yourself and trust your imagination, because the only creator there is in man is man's imagination. Therefore, my brother and my sisters, that's the reason why I always say to you that this message that I bring to you, it is the single-eye message of self-realization, of which Matthew 6:22 says that if I be single, your whole body will be full of light. And hadn't it been that my whole body was filled with light, I wouldn't have been here bringing this message to you. For when it first happens to me, I would have felt that great and mighty shaking, that great earthquake would have taken place in me. And that is when I awake. And it is said that the appearance or the coming of the Lord shall be like as the lightning flash from the east. So it was like a flash of lightning, where I ascend like a fiery being and realize it is the rising of the sun, the sun. So when people speak about gamma wave and they speak about solar flash, this is what would take place in you. And when I ascend like a fire being, I came out of my skull and became invisible, became one with the wind. Look around and there was nothing. I became nothing, I became one with the wind. And that is when I realized that you cannot teach of the invisible unless you become invisible. That is right in St. John chapter 3. We know of which we speak. You must be born again. It's the birth from above. So my brothers and my sisters, this is what it's all about, this great awakening that they're talking about, and many people looking on the outside. That's why the Bible says to you also in Luke 17:21, do not let no man say to you, lo here and lo there. For the kingdom of God is in you. The coming of the Christ, which is your Christ experience. No man can point until it's going to happen this time, it's going to happen that time. It will take place when it's time for it to take place in you. When you are ready, you will awake from the dream of life. And my brother and my sister, when I had that experience, I became like a child that is still hooked up to its mother with its umbilical cord. But what was my mother was magnetic. That's why I can tell you, an electrical and magnetic being. What took place inside of me was all electrical. And then when it reached to the highest level, which is to the 9th power, it was magnetic, electricity and magnetism. So my brother and my sisters, there's some people talking about you come to the 5th dimension. I would have came to the 9th dimension because there's no number higher than 9. Okay, and that is why I used to wake up at 3 every morning, start to write all of my books. I wake up around that time and start to write my books. 3. I never set alarm clock or anything to wake me up at 3. I used to wake up at 3. So my brother and my sisters, when you check the divine language of mathematics, you realize that there's no number higher than 9. So you have to come, if you come to your higher self, you come to the 9th power. So my brother and my sisters, as I always say to you, that when you have this great experience, you come to realize that it is the rising of the sun in a son, and that it is the dawning of a new day in your life. For the sun, as in the sun, it parallels the human imagination, and the human imagination parallels the sun. For without the sun, there is no life and there is no light. And without the human imagination, there isn't anything made that was made. And you're told in Psalm 84:11 that the Lord thy God is a sun and a shield, and no good thing will he withhold from you. And common sense will teach you that the Son has never withhold any good thing from humanity. For the Son is what powers all of humanity and gives all of humanity its energy. Then in Malachi chapter 1 verse 2, you're told that the Son, as in the sun of righteousness, shall arise in you. So righteousness comes from the Son, the sun. So righteousness is not something you attain. It is a discovery. And when you discover that righteousness is what arises in you, with healing in his wings. So when he arises in you, you're going to bring healing to all of humanity. And that's why I'm bringing healing to all of humanity by pointing each and every one to look inward, to discover that their real identity is their divinity, and to use your mind power, which is your solar power, your sun power, your God power, your creative power, which is actually the sexual power. Use that power to achieve your every desire. For that was the message that was taught to Neville Goddard by our ancestor Abdullah, which many are referred to today as the great solar flash. My brother and my sisters, you will experience that solar flash within you, and you will realize that the Bible is your spiritual autobiography that must be interpreted psychologically. So with that, I want to say peace, love you all, I'm out.